TGIF Warriors, we made it. We made it through another week. Hiya, Jess. Great presentation with Mr. Robot. Hello, Arena, Michael Trofan, Hugo Sanchez, Jeffrey Wetzel. All you action junkies, hope you had a good week. Juan, how are you? Okay. Mabuhay, Ren. All right, so Dixie, had a decent week. It's Friday. Let's take a look at a couple weekly charts here. So, not enough to reverse it because you guys know I use a 2-week reversal, a very complicated system. Took me about 40 years to learn it. You just look at this week and where we're closing, and you just count back a couple candles, and it's got to close above or below to get signals for reversals, and we don't have a weekly reversal. It should be pretty easy next week if the dollar's good, because it's next week it's only 92.29. We're 60 above it, but we fell short. The close 2 weeks ago was 94.03. Doesn't look likely to me. And short term, 2 hours, we really didn't have any follow through once it took out the 93 resistance. And I know I said this at the beginning of the week, and it may still be possible. And that is that we have, if you look at the daily, potential for one more break. And here's the moving average. This 93.80 was big before. This is 93.38. So I still think we have to take out these highs to get something going. And I don't know why we couldn't just have one more flush here in the dollar before we rally back up to here. I still think that this is going to be a magnet up here, this blue line, this 95.5. The question is, do we do it from here, or is there one more shakeout to clean out every last dollar bull, and then we get a bear market rally? So I don't know which way it's going to go. And, if I did, I'd have a position. I don't. I like that yen is coming off, or about 80 points off. So actually the yen's acting a little weaker, even though we had this big day. I don't think the yen's going to make a new low. Although I was surprised with what yields did yesterday. They were down quite sharply. But we're still holding on a daily basis. I think as long as we hold 75, you have to give this the benefit of the doubt that we're still heading higher on a weekly basis. We're still higher on the week, although I just noticed this. Okay, well, if we get through 95, then it's going to really go, but it's actually 87.5. Yeah, we're right at the 2-week off number here. So I have a lot of I don't knows going into the weekend. S&Ps looked real vulnerable during the sell-off yesterday, and look at this week. Not the greatest week. Highs were made Monday, and we're going through an exercise of trying to hold. S&Ps have been much weaker. This is not great action. Maybe we try 3,600. I don't have the fibs here, but I do on NASDAQ 100. And we came off yesterday from 51, from the 50% level. Oh, a shooting star, Joe. Yeah. Dude, you got to post that on LinkedIn. I bet you post that on LinkedIn. Oh, and okay. All right. Jess Singh joined. He's a member now. Anyone else join this week? Any new members? I'd like to meet you, say hello to you. You joined this weekend, G? Great, buddy. All right. Francis did too? Great. Appreciate you guys. It makes us feel good that our work is appreciated when people subscribe. You know, it's kind of like, thank you. Gold. I was talking about the potential of yen coming down, gold going up. The reason I actually think the yen is not going to take out the lows from that big squeeze day on Monday. Just like I don't think the market is going to take out the highs from Monday. So gold, maybe we're going to get this move if you just do call it a triangle, say from here, 1854, and call this a breakout. 30 bucks. It's going to take you up to 1910. What a coinkydink. I have a blue line there. So to me, this looks like we're going to have some type of ABC up here to sell next week. Silver's been acting a little better. See that? So we'll see what happens at $25 in silver. But really looking at this as being a good sell. I like mid-months. Friday the 13th, yeah, it's a very spooky day. I don't know. We could fail from here. I think more than that, Joe, I think I have Norm Winsky here today. And when Norm gets a hold of me and gives me a date he wants to be on, oh, how about that? There's usually something planetary happening that he wants to be on, you know, and talk about his stuff because there could be some kind of turning point. So Norm will be with us at the top of the hour. I guess you have to give EG the benefit of the doubt again after, you know, shaking most players out with this action down here. It's trying to hold. Really is a tough trade. I may look to buy it next week. I'm not going to chase it up here. Blake had a great trade, but maybe back around 89.30, 89.40, risking the lows next week. And is there anything else I want to cover? Cable's up today, but we had a real nice break in cable from 33.10. So actually, you know, I'd be looking to sell cable. Maybe, you know, I'll do some fib work, maybe around 32 and a half or so, 32.20. I'll take a look at that. Euro. I don't know. I'm more bearish cable than euro. We'll see what kind of news we get. Maybe we rally back up to, you know, in here. And I think that's about all I wanted to talk about this morning. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with us this week. VIX is trying to put something together here. Let's see what kind of week the VIX had. Yeah, just held. Almost looks like, you know, unless we get a turn in the market, it could go to 18 and a half. I don't think it's a bad shot buying the VIX here and getting out if we take out 20, you know, maybe go out to December, January, see if we get some type of washout. I still think that, you know, this move in the NASDAQ and S&Ps, especially S&Ps, smacks of some type of blow off top, and then using the 2-week reversal next week should be pretty easy. All we need is 35.17. So I know we're 50 above it, but maybe that's next week. The only other thing I could think of is that maybe this was drive 1 and this is 2. You know, we pull back and go again. But I see there's if we take out 3,200, and that's going to measure all the way back down to here. So I think we have some, you know, interesting action next week. I think the biggest trade this week was, for me, was the short side of the pound from 310. And that's it. That's all I see for now. I look forward to the weekend so I could plan ahead of what I'm going to do. But I gave you a couple of ideas of what I'll be looking at next week. It'll be 61.8 back here in NASDAQ. It'll be selling gold, maybe another $25 higher. Okay, it'll be buying the yen on weakness. 104 was real big. So I'm figuring some type of fib retrace, maybe around 440, 420 next week. And we're forming some type of ascending triangle. So I'll be looking for a buy in the yen. I was tempted to short it up here. We had short-term divergence. I didn't do it because my bias on it after looking at the monthly chart is I'm guessing that this is going to be a continuation formation to the upside. So we didn't have, let's see what kind of week we had. I know we had a reversal week in yen. Yeah. The 2-week off number was 104.64. So we're 20 above it and should be easy for it to stay above it. Back over this line about 560, 580. You got a nice little wedge here. So, yeah, so back over this line, it actually projects initially up towards, 110. And I'm sure there are buy stops here, 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 and the grand prize will be up here. So, that's what I see for today. Into the weekend, Norm Linsky will be with us at the top of the hour. GM Blake, how are you?
Dale, give me 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
You got it.
1 second.
Okay, Marco P is saying, I really appreciate what you guys did this week, sharing all your knowledge and wisdom. It has helped my trading positions this week. Keep up the good work, guys. Oh, thank you, Marco. Are you a subscriber? Okay. Well, tomorrow never comes. I think Friday is a great day to try it because you have all weekend to get used to the platform and have our research marry up with yours. So if you're interested in a longer plan, I know Joe Perry. If I send people to Joe, he'll give you a deal. So if Joe, you're here, if you want to post your email in the chat, anyone who's interested in a semi-annual plan or annual plan, contact Joe and tell him that you were in face and Dale sent you. He'll know what that means. Okay. So Marco Peel, there you go. Oil, I don't know what to do with. Yeah. Look at that chart. Yeah. What do you guys think of this? Pretty actionable chart. Huh? Blake, what do you think of this chart right here?
What the hell is that? What was that? What is it?
Huh?
What is it?
WTI. And it won't do dailies because of that, that print when we went negative.
You need to pull up a different feed. That's just obviously a bad print on whoever's,
Well, it had this print down here. It ruined the chart.
But what day is that?
April 20th.
Oh, that's when it went zero, right?
Yeah, negative.
Yeah, you have to use like some sort of continuous, like a different product.
Anyway, buy it here.
Right. I actually still have a screenshot from when it went negative.
Okay.
I didn't take it when it was down 40. I only took it when it was like down 1. Anyway,
all right, bro.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Friday. I was just actually getting out a tweet, and let me see here. I was gonna going live for major pair analysis. Now, click link below to join. You guys do me a favor. Since it's Friday, if you follow me on Twitter, can you retweet that? I'd appreciate it. That'd be great.
I'll get it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't ask, and Dale may ask for a lot of stuff, but I don't ask for a lot of stuff. I don't ask for a lot of stuff. So if you guys can just like retweet that, every once in a while, it helps us. It keeps us, keeps the lights on over here, for us to continue to run these free webinars, between that and our sponsors like, Pepperstone Securities, helps us out. So we appreciate it.
I cracked 30,000 followers.
Who?
Me.
You know what? I haven't even looked.
You have 58
followers. I've had how many?
58,000.
And I have like 4.
I think I've had 58,000 for like 4 years. Seriously, I don't think it grows anymore. It doesn't. I remember at one point Twitter deleted a bunch of users, and it was like, a bunch of like old whatever, like, rope bots or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't even care. I mean, I know social media like Twitter is where we get a lot of our viewers, which is great. But like the number of followers are so
they're bots
because there's so many bots out there. It's like,
yeah,
I have to imagine that anybody, and this is not just me, anybody that's got Twitter followers, that you got to imagine at least 85% of them are inactive accounts. So that would be my my 2 cents. Hold on really quick. I have people like trying to chat while I'm in the middle of trying to talk on here, which is a little distracting. Anyway, so what was I going to say about Twitter? Oh yeah, so Twitter, like, and people that have like a major amount of followers, I can list a bunch of them, but I'm not going to. Those are bot followers, and so those don't matter at all either. Mine are all organic. They're just people that have followed me over the last 11, 12 years. And that's it, but I do appreciate you guys, retweeting that, because I know some of you guys have followers too. It'd be great. We're just trying to help promote our webinar, our free webinar. So I'm gonna talk about the price action last night. Last night we were actually, the markets were trading a little heavy yesterday, but notice where we're holding, and this is something that we have to keep in mind. We continue to hold the 3,500 level, 3,520 level of support in the S&Ps. They have not broken down all week. I know it's Monday we got that big spike up and then reversal on the vaccine news and the concession that or the not concession, the news, a lot of the news stations, I say stations, but news organizations basically saying that Biden won, which doesn't mean anything yet because Trump hasn't conceded either. So the market spiked up, squeezed everybody out, came back down. I've been thinking all week that we're going to drop back below 3,500. We haven't. We've been holding. So, and last night is a pretty clear indication to me that we're probably not going to break down today. we're probably going to stay above 3,500. Even if we drop back down to where we were at last night, we're going to be at 35.20, 30 or 35.25. So, you know, it just tells me that we're probably not going to break down today. There'd have to be something big that would happen, and I don't know what that is. So I'm going to write down 3,500 as being support. Okay. And resistance is going to be 3,600, as we talked about all week long. You know, you can see we got, you know, close to 3,600. We got 3,580. I think the 3,600 was the, you know, this is the big breakout. You know, I guess it's 3,585, I think is what it was previously, but maybe it's 91. So we're going to write down just 3,590, which is, well, actually, we'll just write down 3,600. Okay. And we're going to keep it in range for the S&P. And that's it. I mean, if we break back below 35.20 or 35.15, then we start thinking, okay, well, maybe the market will be, start trading a little heavier there. All right, let's go into the currency market. So as far as the euro goes, and if, you know, we're very much in a range. And if you read like the last night's euro dollar basic technical analysis that I wrote, it's real simple. The 117 level support and resistance will be back at the 118.40 level overnight. We seem to be range bound. What was the high overnight? 118.34. I mean, Dale, I missed it by 6 pips. Christ's sake. But you can see it's just, we're very much range bound right now. I mean, can we get higher than 118.40? Sure. I mean, now that we're in North American trade, we might break through those highs, you know, and challenge a little higher. I just think that we are in a range and we need to respect it. So 117, I'm just going to write down 117.50 and 118.50 and call that a day for today. And if you guys think you should be really directional in the euro dollar at this moment, good luck. I'm not doing any of that. So here's the cable. The cable looks like we might be developing a head and shoulder pattern, potentially. You know, obviously I don't want to get excited about this, and I tend not to get too excited about head and shoulder patterns anyway, but 131 is obviously key support, because now if we come down and break through 131, it is a head and shoulder pattern.
Takes us down to the base.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if we look
28.
Yeah, it probably would take us pretty damn close. I mean, you know,
200. Yeah, 29.
Yeah, I mean, we'd get pretty close to the base of that. You know,
Yeah.
if it decided to play itself out. You know, and how often do you see those play out? I mean, to their fullest extent, not much. So
yeah, sometimes you also get a right shoulder that blows off and ends up making new highs. Yeah, you know, so
I don't get too excited about these, Dale, as you don't. But you know, the thing is you got to respect them. I respect them enough to know that it's there. You can see the overnight highs at the 38% retracement.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
We might.
It's because I know why. It's because it's obvious to everybody what sees it, which makes it, well, that formation's such an obvious one that everyone recognizes it, and I think that's part of the reason why they don't work as much.
Sure. You know, what do you think? What do you think's my favorite chart pattern? Basic technical analysis chart pattern. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, wedges.
Oh, okay. I actually should. Maybe I should rephrase that question. I do love wedges. I love ascending and descending wedges. They're great for reversals. Right. But really, my favorite pattern is a continuation pattern, which is a flag pattern.
Oh yeah.
You know, flags are the easiest, and usually they're the reason why I like them so much is because it's usually got a tailwind behind you, because
it's with the trend.
It's with the trend, so it tends to be more, you know, in the direction of which way I'm going. Like, you know, and you could take like the Aussie dollar and you could say, well, this is a pennant. It is. I mean, I mean, if you really want to trade this on the easier ways, you're buying dips here, unless you break below like the support, But I will tell you this: as far as the Aussie goes, I'm a little worried about the Aussie because of the failure of what the Aussie's been doing, and I factor in a lot of stuff, not just chart patterns, and that's. Let me take a step back, and this is where this is. You have to really think about not just a chart. A lot of people look at technical analysis and they're like, well, the chart says this. I factor in a lot of other things. And that's, where the benefits of like ForexAnalytix comes in, is because, you're taking a look at all different types of analysis, whether it's, harmonic, Elliott wave, but, we're looking at different markets and correlations to those markets, and, what's also, the macro backdrop that's driving those prices as well. So when I take the Aussie, I'm actually, even though I see the flag formation and I respect it, or the pennant that we see there, I'm actually more bearish the Aussie based on what I know about where gold's at, what the RBA is doing, and where we're at in our recovery and risk based on what the Aussie's been doing. So I'm gonna be respectful of the Aussie, that we actually have this pennant right now, which you can go like that. But if we drop below 72.20, it will become, we should drop 72.20. We should go to 71.50 immediately after that, I would think. Okay, so resistance for now is up at 73.40. I don't want to write that down today because I doubt we're going to get all the way up there. I think we'd be lucky if we got back to 73 cents today, frankly, but we are still in a range. So Kiwi, let's take a look at the Kiwi. So the Kiwi, I just tweeted this. It's a really important chart, because and just so you guys know, if you guys missed it earlier this week, I was actually short the Kiwi. I bought the Euro New Zealand at 172.50 or 60, and I got stopped out at like 171.80, something like that, because I was playing this long-term trend line in the Euro New Zealand, and frankly, I didn't think the RBNZ was going to break us above, the 68 cent level. So, but here we are. And we're above 68 cents, and I mean we're at we're at highs that we haven't seen since early 2019. Squeezed out every short, and you can see that we're actually divergent on relative strength. Look, that's a lower relative strength than it was during this peak, and we're higher in price. So that's divergent relative strength. So if the Aussie turns lower, guess what? The Kiwi is going to follow suit. So if we break below 68 cents, it's gonna, and I know you guys have heard me say this all week. Hey, it's bullish while we're above 68 cents. But what I am worried about is you start seeing the Kiwi is actually not looking so good against some of these currencies. Like, my chart of the day yesterday was the Aussie New Zealand. It was like, okay, that's a false breakdown. It's going to bounce. And it did. It bounced 50 pips after I put out the chart of the day yesterday, which is free, by the way. If hey, do we have data, Stelios? Damn it, where are you?
PPI. I was about.
What are you doing, slacking?
1 minute.
Man.
By the way, that was a great chart of the day, man. That was really good.
Thanks, but I'm really more concerned about what the Aussie's looking at. You got the Euro New Zealand that's a false breakdown now. You got the Aussie New Zealand that's a false breakdown. Is that gonna create a Kiwi dollar false breakout? It's possible. So yeah, even though I'm bullish right now, I don't know if I'm like super bullish anymore. I don't feel bullish. Anyway, we got PPI.
By the way, the Aussie is not helped by China, who said a couple of days ago, I think they're stopping wood imports or timber, however you call it, and because there was some issue or something. So basically, we know China and Australia are very related, and some headlines have been pretty negative. Okay, PPI. Oh, marginally stronger, core PPI, marginally weaker. Who cares? Okay, nothing.
Yeah, that was pretty damn fast. And by the way, you guys get data flash with ForexAnalytix. This is part of, it's right here, right in your economic calendar, but this runs almost as fast as Bloomberg. Sometimes we've watched it be faster than Bloomberg, which costs $2,800 a month. And I pay for it. That sucks. It hurts. Yeah, I mean, how come I gotta pay for it? That's all I want to know. I'm just kidding. I mean, it's a tool, but man, it's expensive. But I feel like half the time I'm only using it for the economic data releases anyway. It's like, well, I get it in data flash, so which is, great deal. Anyway, all right, let me finish this up. So the dollar Canadian, you guys know I'm long the dollar Canadian. Bought it below 130 originally. I've been adding to my position, so I've got a little bit better or a little bit worse average now. This is a false breakdown. It is, and it squeezed hard yesterday as we broke through this 131 level. So you got to. I actually had an order at 131.10 to buy more last night on a dip, and it only went to, as you can see, 131.16. So it didn't trigger my order, but I do think that any dip back to 131 should offer support. Resistance now, we're stalling at the 50% retracement, but we could, if it wants to, it could squeeze higher towards 132.17. So I'll write down 132.15, which would be the 618. I almost want to put in bullish, but it's not. It's just not bearish, but it did give us a false breakdown, which puts us right back into the range. Dollar Mexican peso. This is another one that, I'm playing on the long side, that I've been long since below 2030. And it's not playing as well as the Canadian yet, but we get above this 2084, it should rip. Yeah. Intraday we should find support around 2030. Actually, I think that, well, actually I'll write down 2040 if we can get back down there, which we might. I mean, I'm not in the camp that stocks are going to implode today. They could, but I'm not in that camp. I think that's, we're going to probably stay well above 3,500 today, but let's say, we rally back to, 3580 in the S&P, which is very possible. I mean, we're at 864 right now. That might take the dollar Mexican peso back down towards the support, which will allow, those people that missed it to pick it up at a cheaper price. So, or to get in. Dollar Swiss, same as yesterday, 91.92. You guys remember that, right? I don't have to continue. I don't have to do like enormous analysis on the dollar Swiss that's been really range bound for so long. But we know that 91 is support, 92 is key resistance. If we can break above 92, then we'll see that 93 cent level again. But there's nothing really to do right at this moment, which stinks because on Friday I actually was long the dollar Swiss below 90 cents. So, and I let it go at the end of the day because I just didn't want to hang on to it. So let's see really quick. US dollar, Norwegian krona. This is one I picked up more at 9:15 overnight on this dip. Remember, and let me just be clear here, Citigroup is short. So, and they were short down here near the 618. So back here, they were short. But their stop, just so you guys know, I'm going to tell you where their stop is at. 928. So this flag, as you can see, if we wanted to extend ourselves, it would extend us right to city stop loss, which is the underside of this trend line. Did you hear me? I thought I was saying it too quiet. I don't know. I wasn't sure if you guys could hear that. All right. So anyway,
Classified.
9. 14 is support. Below that, we might get to 9.08. And let me also make something clear here. City Tech has been spot on recently. They have actually done really well. I've been really quite impressed with their analysis as of late. I have. Just like anybody, I'm the same way. You're hot and then you're not. You got streaks, then you don't. You know what I mean? And City had a long period of I want to say it was a couple of years where I was just like, oh my God. But no, they've actually done really well as of late. So I don't want to like beat up on their analysis, because their analysis is usually very thorough and very well written and very thought out. So, but this is one that I did not agree with. And if you were on the daily roundup yesterday, I talked about, hey, I just don't agree with this analysis. And there is going to be that analysis out there that I, wholly disagree with. I actually think crude oil, and this is my reasoning, just really quick so you guys know, crude oil posted a false breakout this week. I don't know if you guys caught it.
Yeah.
ForexAnalytix subscribers caught it, but that false breakout on Tuesday, above 43, that was a gravestone doji right here. And we've dropped, what is that? 4% since then. And with that type of move, you're going to have Norway's currency sell off. The Canadian dollar is going to sell off, and they both have. And I think that's going to continue. Look, Biden might be the next U.S. president. And with Biden comes what? Probably a lockdown, especially with the coronavirus ravaging through the U.S. I think we had 150,000 new cases yesterday.
Yeah, 59.
Something like that. It's it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also in the camp that I don't think it's that deadly for most people. But our population over 65 is going to be non-existent if we just continue to let it pummel through the U.S. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he puts us in a partial lockdown at the beginning of the year, if it's still raging through the beginning of the year. And if that happens, where does crude oil go again? Probably down into the 20s. So let's just think realistic here. Not it's not I'm not for or against or anything. I'm just thinking, hey, we have to be really careful. Now that puts the U.S. dollar Norwegian krona back at 9.50, dollar Canadian back in 134. Who knows? So anyway, I'm just sorry. I need to finish up here. Sorry, Stelio. Sorry, Steve. Sorry, guys. It's Friday. Talking my ass off. Okay, so wow, look at the dollar yen. I didn't even look at this today. 105.60. Sorry, Dale. We're in a range here. As I've told you guys, I have no idea how to trade the dollar yen right now. I'm just so thankful I wasn't caught short. That's all I have to say. Is this day, I know every bank that we are in contact with via Bloomberg services, they're just like, traders have been carted out the door with this move. And Amanda was smiling on the other side of that. She was long in our chat rooms, which is awesome. I wasn't. But anyway, we're at the 38% retracement right now, 104.70. That's probably going to be fairly important. I'll give us down to 104.40, but I think you got to realize that we are near support right now. So dollar index, let's do this really quick. 93, which is the 50% retrace. Oh, 93.20, which is the 50% retracement. Support is going to be 92.60. We are range bound. 260, 93. What was it? 93. Shoot. 93.20. 20. Range. Gold, last but not least. Gold is getting close to, oh, look where we're at. Hey, Stelios, you trade gold. Steve, you trade gold, right?
Yes.
Short it right now.
Are you willing to buy it from me?
Short it. Short it. Short it. Just kidding. We're at 1890. Remember, this is resistance from yesterday. I'll give it to 1900 because we're really right there. But I do think that gold might find some resistance up here. I was joking about the short it. I'm not trading it right now. There's nothing, in my opinion, and there's nothing to really do. But if I was long, I would sure be really careful right here. I am in the camp that we're actually going to be breaking this 1838 level first, but that doesn't mean we're going to. That's just
most likely would need the yen to turn back up. Like,
but here's the thing. Yeah, that's true. And the yen, but look at the dollar yen. Look at the dollar yen just imploding right now.
yeah, that's why gold could get to 1910, and remember that 1920 level too. I don't know.
Yes.
That might be 61.8 back or something.
All right, guys. Bias chart's
All right.
done. I'm done talking, and it's Friday. So, Steve, Stelios, how you guys doing?
Good, mate.
What's the good word today?
Not a lot of good words today. I'm a little bit pissed off, to be honest.
Why?
They're closing down.
Somebody take away your Uzo? What?
No, they're closing down elementary schools and kindergartens. They haven't announced it yet, but they will announce it shortly, which I think it's completely stupid, because they admit that the evidence say that there is not a real threat from spreading, because they keep very strict rules, but they're closing them down to prevent people from having excuses to be out. By excuses meaning getting their kids to school, which I'd rather not comment on it, because as you understand, when you have a kindergarten or elementary kid,
you just
in
want
your
them the
house,
hell out of the house as long as possible. And
no, it's not that. I mean, if both parents are working,
Oh, that's not the right answer?
No.
That was my answer.
That was your answer because you've gone through it.
Please leave for 8 hours a day. I got 8 hours of sanity for one day. That was enough for me. No, I can imagine. Look, we probably shouldn't talk about this here, but it's a challenging situation. We don't know what's the right answers and what the wrong answers are, and pandemic.
Yeah,
it's a pandemic. I mean, and it's pulmonary, and you breathe and you can get it, and it can affect you bad. It could affect you not so bad.
There's no debating if there is a threat.
I know a 38-year-old person that was perfectly healthy last week that's dead now. So it's like, oh, okay. Well, it's actually my wife's, friend's husband. And it's like, wow, that is crazy, but you don't know. I've seen people that fare just fine. So it's like,
it's really Twilight Zone.
It's wild, isn't it? I mean, it's wild. I mean, I look at that 38-year-old guy, and it's like, dude, that was way too young. I mean, guy was perfectly healthy.
It is. It is. In essence, the whole thing is a tragedy one way or another.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
what's the right answer? Well, I don't have it. I'm sure you don't either. So we just have to deal with what the government says we got to do, and that's it. So
No, yeah, of
anyway,
course. I mean, you have no alternative to that. There's no question about it. It's not
Right.
that.
Right.
But it's a problem. It's another
Yeah.
problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's anyway. All right, guys. Well, hey, as far as the markets go, so I'm trading. My focus right now, just so you guys know, is I'm watching these dollar pairs. I'm really more or less watching the dollar Canadian, dollar Norway, US dollar Mexican peso. These are these are currencies that if they start to push higher, that's really signaling more of a risk off type of move. So that's kind of what I'm focused on right now. Just keeping an eye on those, because if they start really moving, that's going to tell me what the S&P is going to do more or less. So just kind of focused on that. And man, this yen's really strong. Look at the dollar yen, just absolutely cream lower here. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Good luck today, and TGIF. And for those of you that are supportive or supporting ForexAnalytix as subscribers, thank you all so much. We appreciate each and every one of you. For those of you that want to try to get involved with ForexAnalytix, there's whoops, I didn't want to do that. You can click on Pepperstone right here. But if you go over to ForexAnalytix sponsored, and if you're not in the US and you're not in Canada, you can actually open up a Pepperstone account and use this link right here, because that gets you several free months of ForexAnalytix based on
4.
trade. Well, it could be up to 4, depending on
Yes,
how much you trade,
two when you open an account and fund it, and another 2 if you do like 5 lots, which anybody that is actually trading, doing like 5 lots within 2 months. I think it's more or less a given if you're actually opening the account to trade.
Yeah. So great. Anyway, you guys, thank you very much for your support, and I will see you guys on the week ahead video this weekend. So thanks.
Have a great weekend, Blake.
Thank you, Blaker.
You guys do the same. Bye-bye.
Have a nice weekend, mate.
You too.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, Dale. Long time no sin.
Yeah, Professor. Yeah. Steve did a great interview for me yesterday, and I didn't remember the one 7 years ago or whatever on FX
Yeah, it was
Street,
something
but
like that, actually.
I'll remember this one, Steve. I promise. You were great.
Thank you, Dale. So Blake mentioned the USD yen. I can start from that, just saying that USD
Steve,
yen.
I just want to bring it up just in case that Norm is here today, and he'd like to start early. I don't know if you want to do the analysis, because when there's planetary stuff going on, he lines up one interview after another on that day, and I think he has another one lined up, backed up to this one. So it's up to you. Norm could wait, or we could bring him in now. It's up to you.
Okay, give me 5 minutes to answer a few questions. So USD yen.
Hear that, Norm? See what we do for our guests? All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, what we do for the planets.
Yeah. Okay.
So USD yen found resistance in this trend line resistance. We talked about it yesterday. Actually, it seems to be working for now. But given the possibility of a false breakdown, as Blake mentioned, it's not an easy call. And in general, I've talked about it multiple times. Trading the USD yen during the past year has been, a train wreck. Thankfully, I recognized that quite early, and I haven't been burned in the fire. And for those of you that are daily here, you know that I've actually been advising against trying to trade it. But I know that a lot of people that have tried, most of them have really been steamrolled. So, I hope that's not the case with you. Now, the move lower makes sense following the move lower you see here in the 10-year yield. We talked about it yesterday, got rejected from this channel. So keep that in mind. In order for us to look for more weakness in risk on assets, you'd want to see this channel break to the upside. That should definitely help. Now, having to do with the S&P, choose your preferable interpretation here. You can view this as a breakout from this triangle and the consolidation before we move higher, or you can view this as one leg lower, some kind of a triangle, one more leg lower and higher, which looks very, very promising as a short-term trading idea, right? Now, instead of a triangle, this might prove to be a channel, right? Don't forget that you can never be sure in advance, how something is going to unfold. So these are the two scenarios, right?
Yeah.
For seeing another leg lower, because as always, Greg has been talking about it, I've been talking about it, you always need to keep your expectations to the minimum. We know we are in a strong uptrend, so whenever you see a pullback, your minimum expectation is always assuming that the move lower is going to be corrective until proven otherwise, of course. So that's, nothing has really changed since yesterday. And obviously, Blake mentioned it. Here's the 4-hour chart on gold. And, I can stick mostly on the 4-hour charts as I go very, very fast through a couple of them before we get Norm. You can view this rebound in gold as corrective of this move lower. And then one more leg lower is missing toward like 1800, 1825. We know that this is a very, very important zone, right? And of course, as always, you need to judge, the form of the rebound or the move lower in this case. Here is also natural gas because a friend was asking. It back tested this 290 area. It seems to be rebounding. It has already moved, but there is also the possibility that there is one more leg missing here as well before we continue higher, right? You can see that the rebound so far seems to be corrective in nature. So, if you actually bought the retest of that zone, you made some decent money, but you need to be careful because the move higher so far is not impulsive. So this corrective move lower is likely not over yet. And, the rest of the instruments, anything that's risk correlated looks more or less the same. Look at the Aussie here on the 4-hour chart, seems to be consolidating its recent gains, but in a very orderly manner. All right, it's more than obvious. Kiwi. So bottom line, everything more or less shows the same thing. There is a possibility for another move lower in risk assets and anything that's correlated to them. But on the other hand, I don't really see any evidence that the markets are breaking down or are at the precipice of breaking down and all hell is going to break loose. And I mean, I see none of that so far, right? Which means that, if you want to have an objective bias, I think that, it has to stay what it was, right? And view this move as a short-term correction to the overall trend. As I said, until and if proven otherwise, then, we can have a different discussion. But so far, no real evidence of that happening. Okay, Dale.
All right. Thank you, bro.
Have a great weekend.
I appreciate you accommodating our guests. So thank you very much. Great job this week, Steve. Like I said yesterday, you are one of or the most disciplined guy I know when it comes to trading markets. So I've learned a lot from you in the last 3.5 years.
And we from you, Dale. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. All right. So Norm, I'm getting you in now. I setting you up as a panelist now. Moon Man. Okay, Norm, and unmuting you. Welcome back to Face.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, Norm, I got you.
All right.
So you remember how to share the screen?
I'm working on it now. I think I got it. Maybe share that.
You got it.
All right. Can you see my notes on the screen now?
Got it. Page 1 is up. Norm, take it away.
Excellent. Okay.
You want Norm? Started using astrology when he was young. It was his way of meeting women. He'd go up and ask them if he could do their chart, which is a more original line than "Would you like to come and see my etchings?" And he turned that into starting to, I think you did it with horses too, Norm, and then you went to the markets, and he was one of the original SIBO members on the Chicago Board of Options Exchange. Norm knows GAN. He knows, all these different esoteric types of analysis, and he teaches it. And now he's going to, just give you a review of what his teachings generated last month. And he has courses that you can take to learn what's becoming kind of a lost art. You're not seeing a lot of new people embracing the kind of things that Norm does because there aren't as many great teachers out there anymore. Go ahead, Norm.
Okay, thanks, Dale. Yeah, I have about 50 years of market experience, and I stumbled on astrology in college and started investing and did well enough to, this in the early 70s, ended up buying a membership on the new fledgling Chicago Board Options Exchange in 1975. Only paid $25,000 for a membership. That was pretty good. And also later on, it became traded on the Board of Trade too, Chicago Board of Trade. So I've been doing this a long time. Okay. We're going to be another person who did this sort of thing was Mr. W.D. Gann. I don't know if your people know who Gann was, but sure. He's considered by many to be the greatest market technician of the 20th century. And Mr. Gann's main timing tool was astrology. He was an astrologer. How do I know that? Because back in the late 70s, early 80s, I got the good fortune to get to talk to somebody who worked with Mr. Gann for about 10 years. So, and if you want more proof, you call me. I'll show you a chart where Mr. Gann was putting the planets on his soybean chart. Alrighty, so here we go. So you might want to take a snapshot of this part of the page here because this is our main guide. I'm going to go back in a couple of weeks and we'll see some cycles and try to learn some cycles. Almost all these cycles repeat sometime or another. And so they might occur in the future. And then you can say, oh, I remember when Norm showed me that. And this could be something big in the future, So there you go. So starting off, and you're going to have to learn, we're going to learn some Greek and Latin too, probably,
Okay.
So anyway, starting off with, what's that again?
No Hebrew?
Maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
Shabbat Shalom. There you go. So Venus is on the weekend of the 30th. AC is after the close. I got 10:30 after the close. That was a Friday. Over the weekend, we had Venus perihelion. What's that? That's from Greek. Helios is sun for Greek, and para means near. So that in the Venus's 225-day cycle around the sun, the planets go around the sun not in a circle, but in an ellipse, egg-shaped. Egg-shaped orbit. And so there's a point where they are close and there's a point where they are far. So perihelion is the point where it's closest in that cycle. Okay, keep that in mind. And then Venus, I've been able to correlate different planets with different markets, and also we have the 12 zodiac signs, and I've correlated some of those with the markets, with the different markets too. So okay, so Venus we're going to be watching because it has to do with Venus and the sun. We'll be looking at cattle, copper, corn, cotton, gold, stocks, sugar, and wheat. By the way, let me just back up here and give you some general principles. Mr. Gann told us that time was more important than price. And I'm going to if you decide to pursue this, I'm going to revolutionize your trading, make it much, much simpler. You don't need any moving averages for this because we're projecting the key times. The key times give you the key prices. You don't need to forecast the time. We have the solar system doing all the work for us. Okay, so that's nature. Nature is genius. If you a big drug company wants to find a wonder drug, what do? They send a guy out in the Amazon jungle. He picks a leaf off of a tree. They send it to a laboratory, find out what he does. That's Mother Nature at work, not the drug company. Here we go. We got the solar system doing our timing work for us, and that's the main thing is time. Time is everything, okay? So there we go. So we don't need any moving average, don't need oscillators, no alligators, none of that stuff. You throw out your candlesticks, whatever it is.
I saw a tweet with a huge alligator running around your hometown in Naples.
Well, yeah, we have occasional alligators for that. That's correct.
I thought it was your dog.
Anyway, so there you go. So I'm going to make this a whole lot simpler. Remember, the key times give you the key prices. Another principle I trade on is Isaac Newton's law of for every action, the opposite equal reaction. We look for extremes in these planetary change in trend windows. Well, a high percentage of time will forecast that the direction is going to change. As you get a change in trend, sometimes occasionally you get an acceleration of the trend or breakout, but most of the time it's a change in direction. And there we go. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So Venus perihelion, Venus got to a extreme in its cycle. Then anytime you get a big convergence of cycles, that could be really big, as you will see as we look at these charts. Then we had a full moon in Taurus, and that was at apogee. That doesn't happen every month. You have a full moon every month. You have the moon apogee every month. Of those two cycles corresponding only happens every 14 months. And so that was a big deal. That's called a micro moon. It's the opposite. Maybe you've heard of a super moon. That's the opposite super moon. And so if you've listened to me before, I always say at the new moon, full moon, round up your usual suspects for financials, grains, precious metals. And in this case, we're running a special because it's in Taurus the bull. As you might guess, might be cattle and also cotton. So then we have Mercury at perihelion, and that's Mercury is going to be doing the same thing Venus is, but this is very rare that both Venus and Mercury would be at perihelion right about the same time over that 30th weekend. So this is really getting to be as you add these different cycles, this is getting to be a big deal. So then we have corn, gold, soybeans, stocks, and wheat. And then on the afternoon of November 2nd, we have another huge cycle. Jupiter is going to line up with Saturn in this Aquarius, and that only occurs every 19 and a half years. But wait, that's only a sub-cycle of a bigger cycle. We have 12 signs of the zodiac that are subdivided into your four fire, earth, air, water, your four elements. And so Jupiter and Saturn have not been conjunct together in Aquarius for about 960 years. You probably remember when that last happened, right, Dale?
Well, 960.
There we go. So that's part of we only change element every 240 years. So this is another huge cycle. But wait, as they say on late night TV, that's not all. This is also part of a 2,160-year cycle called the precession equinox, when the stars move 30 degrees. And so, for example, we had 2,000 years ago approximately, we moved in the age of Pisces, when those three astrologers looked for who's born on with these planets lined up like this. And you might have heard that story before. And Pisces is the fish, and the opposite is the lobe. So that might sound familiar to some people out there. So there you go. Now if you're old, Dale's and I, if you're in our age bracket, you might remember back in the 60s, a very popular Broadway show called Hair. And one of the top songs from that show was The Dawning of the Age of Aquarius. And so now they were about 50 years too early, but now it's actually happening now. So anyway, I know this probably won't make anybody. But if you want to hear more about that, you can contact me. I got a whole article on that.
They change it to the age of Ethereum from Aquarius.
What's that again?
The age of Ethereum.
Okay, don't know about that.
Yeah, that's a crypto.
All right. Anyway, we'll be looking at Jupiter and Saturn have to do with Saturn is coffee, and Aquarius is copper, and stocks is the big basket of everything. It responds to potentially all these things. And then on the afternoon of the 3rd, we had Mercury. It was in the sign of Libra. This was the last time we had Mercury turn direct on election day was 2000. How about that? You remember 2000, right?
That's cool.
Disputed election. And guess what?
Yeah.
This happened right in the middle of the day on election day. And again, we have a disputed election. You see? So there you go. So we have change in trend for the corn, and Mercury is the green. So corn, soybeans, because it's in Libra, is sugar, stocks, and wheat. And then we're going to get a little closer back on Monday when they had the huge blow off there in the stock market. That we had something big to U.S. Natal Chart. What's a Natal Chart? We take a snapshot of when something is born or something began. The U.S. began on July the 4th, 1776. So we have a snapshot of those planets. And when something important is happening now, with the planets now in harmonic relationship to those planets, that can be a big deal. So we have Jupiter 120 degrees. That's an important angle to where Neptune was on July the 4th, 1776. And that made a new all-time high on the
That was the
S&P.
vaccine news on that day.
What's
Yeah.
that?
The vaccine news that day.
Right, vaccine is right. And I said that was a very positive cycle for the U.S. and so forth, right? So we got stocks, your U.S. financial stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar, and because of Neptune, we look at oil too. And I think oil had a big move there too. So there we go. So, and we got one more to go here. The afternoon of the 10th, we had Mercury. That's the greens again. That's another cycle with Mercury and Venus do this. It's their relationship with the relative to the Earth and the Sun. Sometimes they are ahead of the Sun. Sometimes they're behind the Sun relative to as you look at them from planet Earth. So they swing back and forth on this cycle like a pendulum, and about every so often they get to an extreme of that. That's called maximum elongation, and that's a potential change in trend for your grains, and of course stocks are the big basket of everything. So now let's look at these different cycles and how they what they did. And by the way, this system tells you what markets to look at. There's very little thinking necessary here. And Dale, as you probably know, the less you think, the better you will do. Thinking is hazardous to your financial health when it comes to trading. Right? Would you agree with that, Dale?
Yes. I got a question from one of the attendees. Is any of your astrological work telling you who will eventually be president?
What's that? Yes, I did. I forecasted every presidential election since 1972, and up until this election, I'd hit all but two.
Okay.
I was correct on all but two. My favorite one was the first one. I forecasted Nixon would win by a landslide, but then he would regret that he won, and I think that was pretty accurate.
How about now? What do you think is going to happen with?
So far I'm not looking great. Trump, I forecasted Trump would win. But it ain't over till it's over, right?
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong this time. It all comes down to you have to have their correct birth time. All right. I'm confident about Trump. I'm not that confident about Biden. I got it off of the internet there, and there was no verification or proof that was his correct birth time. But that's all I had to go on, so I had to go with whatever they gave me. Right?
Okay.
All right, here's our window there. We had two signals over that 30th weekend for cattle. We had the Venus thing. Venus has to do with Taurus, and the full moon was in Taurus, and that's where we'd be looking for a change in trend. And we had a short-term top there for cattle. So there's your two green. It means we had a chance to make some money. You see a red one, that means we probably had a miss. All right, coffee. Look at that. We're right near the bottom there on coffee. That's pretty good on the 2nd of November. Yeah. Okay. With the Jupiter-Saturn lineup, what Saturn is coffee. Here we go. We had the Jupiter-Saturn. Oh, this is the Venus and the full moon over the weekend there. And that's the Venus thing is copper. Yeah, Venus is copper. And then we had the Jupiter-Saturn thing for the 2nd of November. And that was a miss because it just kept... You would have sold it because that keeps going higher, kept going higher. So we went 50-50 on the copper. Here's the corn, did pretty well. We had made the bottom right there on the full moon. And also we had Mercury, that's grains. And then we had a little breakout there of the downtrend right on our Mercury going direct. I don't know if the folks know what the retrograde and direct is. Do the relative motion of the Earth, the planets look like, that's a key word, appear to look like occasionally they stop their motion and reverse the direction. Mercury does this about 3 times a year. When it stops, it goes backwards for about 3 weeks, and then it stops to go forward. That's called direct. Backwards is retrograde, and so that's an important cycle. Back on when the stock market topped in February on the 19th, that was within about a day of Mercury turning retrograde, and there's been many major important turns of the market when Mercury turns retrograde or direct. So anyway, turned direct there. We had a breakout of the downtrend, boom, and then you went up, up, up. And then there's that Mercury elongation cycle We had a crop report come out right. The mercury elongation was right in the middle of the day, and we had a crop report come out about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and these grains exploded. Corn, soybeans, wheat, they all exploded to the upside, and then they made a top that day, and that's been, I think, for most of these grains, the high of the month so far.
Nice.
Yeah. So here you go, cotton. This looks really nice. There's your full moon in Taurus and Venus. That's a It's a Taurus market, and there you go. You're right on the low. That nice low there. That's the low of the month so far. Gold was we were off a couple days on the gold there. See, so I got to mark that as a miss. Okay, what was back there on the 29th, and I got to be right within 1 day, or I mark it wrong. Okay, here's your crude oil. I was 1 day early on the crude oil there, but not only 1 day early, but it moved to like $3 against you. That's not acceptable. And we've been close in price, and within 1 day early, that'd be okay. But for that amount of money, that amount of heat, not good. So we got to mark that a red arrow there. Here's silver, like the gold. I was off 2 days on that. That's a miss. If it's going sideways like there, I don't do it. So I put a yellow bar there, show you that we've got a pass window. It's a passing window. There we go. But we did it over here. We got to another signal, mercury going direct, and that's grains. And you see we broke out of that consolidation there, and then up and away, and there's your mercury elongation there on the 10th, and that was right near the top. You were 1 day ahead of the top tick there on the 11th. You see that? Here's your S&P. We had a big cluster. All these cycles lined up. The stock market is receptive to all these cycles. And over the 30th, they had like 4 different cycles there. And that broke, and we were breaking that downtrend line. And now that week, first week of November, I don't know if you folks know it or not, it was the biggest up week since April for the stock market, for the S&P, and I think maybe the NASDAQ too. And then we had some cycles over here, and the markets have been chopping kind of sideways there, so we're not doing anything there. Some of these things we'll be repeating here coming up in another day or two, like the related to the moon, not exactly a repeat, but related, you know. Here's your sugar. That was a Venus thing, and look at that. You're buying it right near the low. And the funny thing about the sugar is within 3 days, it made the high of the low of the day, try again. It made the low of the month and the high of the month, all within 3 days. So there you go. You bought there. That was our next window there with Mercury turning direct in Libra. Sugar is Libra, you see. So there you go. So we got bought near the low of the month. We sold near the high of the month. So that's kind of what you want to do, I think. Right, Dale?
Yeah.
Here, T-bonds, it was that's a clear miss there. It was going down. I wouldn't have been inclined to buy, and it went lower. So that's not good. So that's a miss. And here we had a little short-term top there on the bonds. Okay. Here's your wheat. Wheat was good. Buying there on near the low. There's your low there on the 30th, and you had a chance to buy it on the opening on November 2 on Monday, and then up and away, and then we had that. And then I think I missed one here, Mercury. Oh yeah, okay. I left one off. Anyway, I won't count that when we add up the score there because I left it off. But that would have been Mercury elongation there, and that looks like that was a bit of a low there on the wheat, which is contrary to the other greens, you know. Right? So anyway, you had a winner there, and we should have had a winner there. I missed marking that one. Okay, here's the currencies. Now we're going to get into currencies. Everybody can wake up now. We're going to do about 5 currencies. There's your dollar right on the high of the month. Okay, that's the moon. Is this simple or what? All you got to know is when the full moon and the new moon are, and a high percentage of the time, these currencies dance to the moon, and you get a nice turn. There's your dollar. Don't need to predict any prices. Just wait till you get there, and the planets in the market will tell you what to do. Here you go. Here's your Aussie dollar right on the low of the month. Here's your British pound on the low of the month. Here's your Canadian dollar. Not as good. It's kind of going sideways a little bit, but it did dip there on Monday the 2nd, and right after the full moon, and so you had a chance to buy near the lows there and up and away. Here's your euro. You're buying it near the lows there for it did flop back down, so I use a trailing stop, so hopefully you captured some profit there, right? And here's, I always like to try to throw something in different for educational purposes. I do fractals. I fractalize about 27 markets. What's that? As we take a small piece of the market, and that like a pine tree, you have different levels of order, repeating pattern, different levels of order, like a pine tree. The branch looks like a small pine tree. So we can, based on the price action in January, in February, I project the rest of the year. So here's what I did. This blue lines are the model, forecast model for the year for Treasury bonds. And this is and I sometimes flip it upside down because sometimes these models follow the inverted model. But you can see this is working out pretty well. And this says after a little bounce here in mid-November, this was updated last at the end of October. And after a little bounce here, which I think we just got here in the last day or so, we are due to roll over and have a pretty big down in the bond. So if you haven't refinanced your mortgage yet, or you have a mortgage, you might want to think about doing that right away before interest rates go up, up, up. That's the way it's looking now. Okay. Okay, let's look ahead now. We got Helio Jupiter lining up with Saturn. That's kind of a repeat of something we had on November the 2nd. And we're going to be looking at, and we want to see these markets at this is yesterday. Want to see these markets at some extreme, and then we can look for a reversal. If they're going sideways, not good. There's your coffee, copper, and stocks. You can look up these charts, hopefully yourself, and you'll be able to easily figure it out in a matter of seconds. Jupiter lined up with Pluto and Capricorn. That's going to be cocoa, coffee, hogs, stocks, and T-bonds. Mars only does this every 2 years. It's been going retrograde, been going backwards for a couple of months, and this weekend it's going to turn direct, or this weekend. And but wait, that's not all. It's going to do that this weekend. We have a new moon at perigee. Okay, so that's only that's a 14-month cycle. That's when the moon is at its closest point to the Earth, and coinciding with the new moon. That only happens every 14 months. And so now that's a powerful combination of a moon. That's called a supermoon. That's corresponding with Mars turning direct. I expect some big, powerful change in trend points happening this weekend. And because of the moon, we'll be looking for grains, precious metals, cocoa, hogs, and T-bonds because it's in the sign of Scorpio. And with this, the lunar syzygy, that's the technical term, lunar syzygy. This is an extra powerful new moon. Then we also have, next week, a week from now, over the Friday 20th weekend, we have a huge cluster of cycles for the U.S. It's been a long time since I've seen anything like this before. Something really big is going to happen with the U.S., and maybe that's a resolution of this election. I'm not sure how it's going to all work out, but something really big is happening in about a week from now, okay? Maybe Friday over the weekend. Probably not later than Monday the 23rd. Okay. All right. So keep the watch on that. These are two markets I did not cover in the review, but they're coming up with the weekend moon. We got cocoa. It's kind of coming down a little bit. Might be if we push it to more of extreme. Looks like it could be a low there if it's coming down. Hogs are going absolutely sideways so far as of last night when I did these charts. So far, the hogs are kind of sleeping, So there you go. So there's all the charts. You can get a hold of me. I offer classes. Like I said, I got about 50 years of experience. I know about Gann. I know about Elliott Wave, but I don't do much Elliott Wave. I think it drives you crazy. And I keep it real simple. As you see, I don't have any. All the stuff that everybody else does. No spaghetti on my chart there. And so it's real simple. If you like simple and you don't want to work so hard, give me a call. I got free classes. I'll teach you how to day trade this stuff, and the same principles. Try to get it down to 1 to 2 minutes on the Astro intraday stuff, the smaller cycles. All right. So here's my contact information.
When's your next free class start?
When my next classes are, is that what you said?
When's it start? Your next free class?
Oh, I do them monthly.
Okay.
So if you get a hold of me now, we'll get in the queue for December.
Okay.
Just a great holiday present for yourself,
Yeah.
All right. There's my contact information. I'm in beautiful Naples, Florida. And there's my phone, 239-594-3939. You might want to try and copy and paste my email. It's a long one. Anwinski at embark with a Q in the middle, mail.com. You can call me on Skype, Anwinski_1. So thanks for having me on. I hope to looking forward to contact me right away. I'm in my lesser part of the busy month, less busy now than I will be toward the end of the month. So I appreciate if you get a hold of me right away, and looking forward to helping some of your folks, Dale.
Okay, Norm, thank you very much for coming here and sharing your work with us. I appreciate it. And for those of you who have an interest in this stuff, I don't think you could find a better teacher.
Oh, I did miss one thing, Dale. If I could just back up, I skipped over that. I didn't give you the score, the batting average for these things right there. I missed that. I had 25. If you count the green arrows and red arrows, had 25 winners and 6 misses out of 31. That's for 80.65%. So if you're doing better than that, call me anyway and let me know how you do that. If you're not doing that well, you need to call me, and so I can show you how you might get there. You know, right? All right. Sorry about that.
All right. That's okay, buddy. So,
all right, everybody, have a great weekend.
I hope you have a great holiday season. My trading warrior brother, and health, and that your family, loved ones remain untouched by this invisible enemy.
Okay, Dale, thanks a lot.
All right, buddy. All right, that's a wrap, everyone, for the week. Enjoy your weekend. Remember, don't just count your planets, count your blessings. And I'll see everyone tomorrow. Not tomorrow. See how fried I am by Friday. Have a great weekend. We'll be back. You know, our mission is to build up and identify traders every day. Hope we accomplished it. And part of the way we do it is by bringing in guys like Norm Linsky. Have a great weekend, everyone. Adios. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys and ladies. See you, Richard, Michael.